Hey sis, have you ever found yourself like looking back like at a relationship that you were in before and then sitting there wondering like if you were the problem? I mean, just sitting here thinking like you may be like, was I the problem? Or maybe like you replay conversations and question like actions that you took maybe or did not take in a relationship. Maybe you ask yourself like if something could have been different, and if it could have been different, what could have been different? Or maybe you ask yourself why you were even put in that situation to begin with. Sis, listen, after painful relationships, many people carry like a heavy weight or like a feeling of like self blame. But in reality, it's like sometimes that weight was never meant for you to carry. It was never meant for you to carry that weight. And I did this whole series, if you've watched some of the other videos, where I did a series about this. And throughout the series, we talked about stuff like reasons why people hurt other people in relationships, unhealed wounds, fears of abandonment, like emotional patterns that were shaped by past experiences. We talked about like a lack of emotional capacity, like a person maybe not even having the capacity emotionally. And so sometimes when someone hasn't like healed from their past, these wounds actually influence how they respond to love, sis. And they may struggle with trust. And we talked about that, and we talked about how they may push people away, they may sabotage like healthy relationships. Because they're not used to it, and they don't even know how to respond to it. And so we talked about also like when that happens, the person on the receiving end of that behavior often begins to question things about themselves. And one of the things that they may be questioning is their own worth. Like, for example, they may say, you know what, I don't even deserve you. I don't deserve you. They're telling themselves ahead of time they don't deserve you. So now it's like they're going to start pushing away because they feel like you're going to leave anyway, or they don't deserve you. So there's no point in trying to, keep it together because they don't deserve you anyway. And just remember that like sometimes the relationship it didn't end because you weren't enough. I just want to make sure we get that clear. It didn't end, because you're not quote unquote enough. Sometimes a relationship actually ended because the other person wasn't ready for the kind of love you were offering, sis. They weren't ready for it. And healthy love requires maturity. It requires maturity. It requires honesty. It requires accountability. It requires healing. Yep. And unfortunately, sis, not everybody has reached that place. And that's a hard thing to grasp sometimes because it may just boil down to they haven't healed. So I wanted to bring this whole series to your attention because I hope it can help you relieve the belief that like something was wrong with you. Because in some instances, people are just not healed. It's a lot of people out here that's not healed, believe it or not. Because think about it. Some people they jump from relationship to relationship to relationship. They don't even heal in between like the relationship. So say, for example, let's say they were in a serious, or you were in a serious relationship, and you guys split up or whatever, and then the next week, if you were already dating or they already started dating somebody else, I mean, you just got out of a relationship. So then it's like maybe sit and they didn't even process what happened in that relationship, what they could have done better if it was them, if it was not them, to process like the hurt and the pain so you don't project it on somebody else. But what's happening in it, in this series, that what I've been talking about, what's happening is that there's people who have unhealed wounds from like childhood, like way back when they were smaller. And so they never got the help for that, to get over that. And so what happens is they spill that on other people. So they get in these relationships, and they could be with a person, and I've had guys, like I had guy friends, and they used to tell me, like sometimes, like some of them would tell me like it may not have even been the woman or whatever, they just weren't ready. But it's unfortunate because that person is entangled in this, and they don't know that you're not ready. Like, if you, unless you told them and they chose to stay, that's one thing. But a lot of times they're not telling you, the people aren't saying, hey, I have some things I haven't healed from. They're not telling you that. Unfortunately, people find out when all the conflict happens and all the pain happens. Because remember, this is from way back when. Like, somebody could have abandoned them. Somebody could have always let them down. Somebody could have not kept their word. Or like they could have been an adult in relationship, and every relationship they get in, somebody could have cheated on them. Somebody could have used them for, just used them up for financial reasons. Or somebody could have promised they were going to do all this stuff, and then they got in a relationship and they did the total opposite, so now they don't trust anybody. Or they really genuinely finally opened up to somebody, and then that person took that trust and everything that they said, and then they turned around and used it against them. So now they have a fear of opening up again, because they're scared that you're going to do the same thing that this person did, even though you're not. You're not that type of person. Unfortunately, we get caught up in that. And I say we because it happened to me a lot. Well, I haven't dated like a whole lot, but it happened to me enough to where it feels like it was a lot. Yep. And then that's the other thing. Like, if you are anything like me, and let's say you kind of stay to yourself, and so you haven't been like out there like that. You dated, but not like around and around like that. Or you haven't really, like, because you stay to yourself, you didn't really get involved much. But then it's like, you come as a healed person, and like, because you haven't been out there like that, and we're sometimes too naive to certain things, because if you're not out there like that and you don't get around or move around like that, you don't know like all this stuff. And so I learned all this stuff that's going on out here, and I'm like, shocked, because I just didn't know. And it's like, you put your trust in people, and because you're a trusting person. But a lot of times what happens is, if you're not careful, you'll get kind of boom, get shocked. And so we just have to kind of be careful, and pay attention to stuff, and make sure that we are making decisions that's right for us, and make sure we're dealing with people that's healed, because it ends up like bleeding off all on you, and you had nothing to do with that stuff. Nothing. And it makes you like, you're so upset about it, because it's like you don't, it's not right what happened to you, but at the same time, you're not that type of person, so you're not going to retaliate, because that's not the type of person that you are. So then in essence, that hurts even more, because you're not going to retaliate, but yet it's not fair, if that makes sense. So, yep. But sometimes though, sis, the most important realization after a painful relationship is that, to know like, you weren't the problem. Now, granted, none of us are perfect. Could every single person do something a little better in any relationship, of course we can, because it's a relationship. It's two imperfect people getting into a relationship. But I'm talking about people that have not healed from things and bleeding onto other people and doing what they call hurt people hurting people. I don't think that's right, and I think people need to get healed. But unfortunately, that's just my own opinion and perception. It's a lot of people that's not healed, that's out here just on to the next, just hurting this person, hurting that person, crushing this person, crushing that person, and then just moving around like that. And then sometimes I do think that sometimes some people go think back and they are sorry for what they did. Maybe even if they don't call and say they're sorry, text or whatever. I do think at some point some people do come to a realization that dang, that was wrong. I shouldn't have did that person like that. But it still doesn't make it right what happened to you. I'm just saying what happens sometimes. So just know that you weren't the problem, and you were someone trying to love somebody in a healthy way. And also understand that the right person, they're gonna value that. They're looking for you. It's somebody that's praying for you. They're praying for the type of person that you are. So sometimes God allows like painful experiences to reveal what was never meant to be in our lives or stay in our lives. Yep. Sometimes he just shows you. You have to kind of take heed. So if this resonates, please like and subscribe. And as always, I'm wishing you peace, love, joy, and happiness. My name is Melinda. I'm Coach Melinda, but I go by Melinda. I'm a registered nurse, life coach, and mentor. And on our channel, we focus on faith, healing, and emotional well-being. All right. So I'm wishing you have a great day. I'm getting tired, guys. I wish you have a great day. And of course, I'm always going to wish you peace, love, joy, and happiness. All right. Enjoy your day.